It's Big Board Sports with Roger Wyland on 104.5 The Team.
Pete Iorizzo is a regular guest of ours every Monday morning. He is the sports editor and columnist for the Times-Union. Good morning, Pete. How are you?
Hey, Roger. How's it going?
We're good. And, man, I guess let the hype begin, right, between, Jimmy in here 2 weeks ago and what he said, and it's still going because after the game last night, your reporter, Tim Wilkin, does a great job covering UA, threw out the question to Will Brown about, Jimmy and the matchup, and then Will just took it from there, and some interesting quotes that appeared in your paper today and certainly online.
Well, I would like to see you get those two guys in studio together. I think that would be particularly entertaining.
It's something.
You have to kick the hosts out.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly, up until, and I don't even think it's a big deal now. Really, I don't. But I actually think that they both like each other. I mean, that's always been my thought. Like, Jimmy's always complimented Will. Will has always had compliments for Jimmy.
I mean, they do the coaches versus cancer thing together. Their wives get along. We know that.
We know that. Absolutely know that. In fact, I think it might have been the last year or the year before, one of the years, Jamie and Michelle were in a box together.
Right.
So, I mean, having a glass of wine together watching the game. I don't think there's any hatred. I just think, I think Jimmy, here's what I think. I think Jimmy's trying to have some fun with this. Now, I'm not sure where he was going with this will be the last time we play at CEFU. I don't know. I don't know whether he knows more information than I don't know where he was going with that. That might or might not be true, but we don't have to worry about that for another year anyway. And in the meantime, Pete, I mean, look, it'll be Mark Benson and John Dargenio deciding those things anyway, and it's not going to be for another year. So let's have some fun. But I don't know. I think Will doesn't think Jimmy's funny, even though there are times, more times than not, where Jimmy really is trying to be funny.
Absolutely.
And that's just Jimmy being Jimmy. That's the way he is a lot of times. And you have to take him for that. He's Jimmy. He's going to say some crazy stuff and have some fun with it. I think Will's at the point where, because Will has pushed so hard to get this game at CEFU, and I think that's what you have to understand, is that Will has been pushing for a long time now, even before Jimmy arrived, that a game should be played at CEFU. So now that it is, the last thing he wants to hear anybody say, whether it be Jimmy, fans, me, you, that this would be the last time that this would be the one and the only time that we would see this rivalry be played at CEFU Arena. I'll let you take it from there, Pete.
Yeah, well, I was kind of puzzled, actually, when Jimmy said that, and I guess I have a hard time understanding his explanation that he was only talking about for this contract, because, everybody knew that, so I'm not sure what exactly he was trying to say, and like you said, it's going to be the ADs who work this out anyway. So I thought that was a little odd, and then I guess I kind of understand where Will's coming from, taking offense at Jimmy giving the suggestion that he should get a thank you card for coming down there. If I'm Will, I'm probably looking at this saying, listen, you've been down here one time in 15 years, and I'm supposed to, go out of my way to thank you and be gracious for coming down to play in my building. I think Will's felt like they should have played down there 6 or 7 times over the last 15 years. So, but yeah, I think I also think you're right. I think in Jimmy's mind, he was probably having some fun with this and thinking this is going to get under Will's skin. And I'm not sure Will thought it was quite as funny as Jimmy did.
Right, and both will play this the way they want to play it through the media this week, and it won't be just a radio thing. There'll be media avail for TV this week at some point, so our cameras will be rolling. Chris will probably be over there. Ashley Miller. We'll have them on camera, and the question of the game and where it's being played, and is this the last time the game is going to be played at CEFU for Jimmy? Those questions are going to be asked. I don't know what his response will be the week of the game. Where do you stand on this whole thing, Peter? You think that that the game should be every couple years played at CEFU Arena?
Yes, I've said that for years, that I thought that it wasn't fair that UAlbany had to play a road game every year. I actually think that the way they've worked it out for this contract, I actually think that might not be a bad model going forward. Where I guess it's sort of a 2-for-1, but really the third game's a neutral site game. Maybe that's a way to sort of make everybody happy. But certainly I can understand if UAlbany said, look, we're not going to continue a series indefinitely where we never get to play a home game. And I say that I do understand that Theater's made a lot of accommodations for Albany. They've moved around their season ticket holders so some of the Albany people can get better seats. And maybe there are some financial implications, but still, when you're going into another team building, you're still playing playing a road game.
Pete, let me ask you this question. Who do you think would lose more if this rivalry were to go away, Siena or Albany?
I think both teams lose if it goes away. Because for both teams, I mean, how many other times during the course of this season are they going to have the opportunity to play in front of, if they're a Times Union Center, 10,000 fans during the regular season? Or if you're Albany, how many more times are you going to play in a sold-out F2 arena during the course of the season? Maybe a handful. I think both programs get a lot out of it. They get a lot out of the fact that we're all going to be talking about it all week long. But ultimately, like I said, if I'm Albany, I would understand their reluctance to get into an agreement where they're just going to have to play a road game every single year.
Pete,
but I'm not sure. I should say that too. I'm not sure that Siena is necessarily going to take that kind of a hard line position that we're never going back to F2 Arena again. I know that's what Jimmy says, but I don't know. Maybe we should play one game at F2 Arena before we decide that we're never going to do this again. Let's see how it works out on Sunday.
And I think maybe even the bigger factor is going to be is Will Brown willing to take this current deal? I mean, he has said that he's good with it for this 3-year deal, but he wants it to be in every other year at CEFQ. We'll kind of have to wait to see how that goes. Pete, Chris Honorato with you here too. In my time here in the Capital Region, which is 6+ years now, I don't remember an Albany Cup having as much juice as this one, and obviously it's because of everything that has played out here in the media, and it makes me think that however this goes, it may be the most devastating loss to either head coach on either side. So, I know Will has fought so hard for this game at CEFQ, and everything now that has been said in the interim here makes me feel like there's more pressure on these two head coaches to win this game because of everything that has happened here in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I've always felt about the Albany Siena game is that it seems like it's going to be the end of the world if you're the team that loses that game. But we get into conference play so quickly after it comes that it seems like the build-up to it is far, far longer than whatever the lasting effect is. You win the game, you lose the game. A couple days later, you end up playing another game, and in some cases another conference game, and then we kind of all quickly move on to other things. I do think you're.
But do the donors
think that after so many years of trying to get a game at F2 Arena, they want to have a good showing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the medium, we may move on, and my God, I hope we do. But do the
I don't know, actually, because I'm kind of enjoying this.
It's so funny. I've never thought that we're in this kind of gotcha journalism type of atmosphere here in the Capital Region sports scene. This is not the presidential election. We're not out to get somebody to say something they shouldn't, or will start some kind of fire here, but it is what we have. Pete, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, we should point out, it's not as if we goaded these two guys into saying these things. No.
I mean, it's a reasonable question to ask what you think about the series with the game coming up for the first time at F2 Arena, and, the two head coaches have decided to have a back and forth about it. It wasn't a media creation. This is how they've responded to reasonable questions.
That's how I feel too. However, if you talk to certain people, this has been created by the media.
No, I disagree with that.
I agree. Pete, let's talk about the game. I know we have a week to go here, but this will be the last time we talk to you before they actually tip things off at CEFQ. Who do you think has the advantage?
I almost feel like it's a little bit too early to even say. I mean, the expectations, I think, are maybe a little bit higher for Siena this year. They have more experience. They're coming off what was a fairly brutal trip, just in terms of playing 3 games in 3 different parts of the country. And I wasn't surprised to see them run into a tough game at UNC Asheville. I know Jimmy had warned before the season that team was pretty good, and then coming at the end of a road trip. And I guess I just haven't seen enough of Albany yet to have a real feel for what some of these new guys can do. Obviously, Joe Primo's pretty good, and having the game at home will be an advantage. So, historically, these games have been pretty close. So I guess I'd be surprised if it weren't close one way or the other this coming year.
Yeah, I think it has the makings of an outstanding game for sure, and close, and it'll be a fun one to call. There's no doubt about that. Pete, thanks for a few minutes as always on the Monday show. I'm sure you won't have a tight leash on Wilkin this week, right? Or single leash. Right? You're going to let him go.
I never do.
Huh? Let him go. Let him fire away, and we'll have a lot more fun as this week goes forward, as we will on the TV side of things too.